Welcome back to Donghua Recapped. In today's video I will be recapping The Prisoners of Time. It begins as we see a girl and a guy talking and joking around, recording videos of each other. His name is Shai and he says that today is the day that they get married. But then suddenly a big black hole opens up behind her, and all the birds die. The sky starts turning red, and she is bound by vines that come from the black hole. He fades away, and she is sucked into the abyss. It was just a dream. As he wakes up in his bed, he heads to work where some of his colleagues point out that his hair is turning white. He is a 30-year-old office worker, and explains that he has been having dreams every night about a girl called Xiaoqing. He remembers every detail of their life together, but any time he looks for clues or answers, it indicates she has never existed. His colleague, Gongzi, mocks him and says that since tonight is Christmas Eve, he should make a wish that they're reunited. Shai gets a letter, and on it says tonight, 10:30. On the rooftop, a weird glowing stone fell out of the envelope, and he vividly remembers it as Xiaoqing's earring. A guy runs past an old homeless man in an alley, followed by some men in suits who use their hands which turn into vines to grab hold of the homeless guy. A woman tells them to deal with the witness, so one of the guys turn into a horrifying monster, and place the vines into his nose and mouth, grabbing his brain and causing a blue flame to be formed. They disappear and he wakes up, oblivious to where he is, so they must have erased his memory. In the city, some of the citizens notice that there is black snow falling from the sky. Shai desperately tries to get on the elevator, and then takes the stairs up to the roof. He tells Gongzi that the earring he has is the only thing that can prove her existence. He is aware of the danger, but he doesn't care, and goes onto the roof. Nothing happens at first, but all of a sudden, a blue light comes from the earring. It forms a huge blue ball which causes a man in a futuristic red suit to appear, and time stops. The mysterious men in suits all turn into their monster forms after spotting the big ball of energy. The guy that they were chasing earlier, who is called Zong, appears and sets them on fire with a Molotov. They disintegrate into nothing. Shai goes unconscious, and the futuristic-looking person mysteriously says that Gongzi will have to solve the equation. The ball bursts and time commences again as everything is unpaused. He wakes up and the monsters have surrounded him. The female asks for something called the communicator, and Shai says that it is Xiaoqing's earring, and commands them to show him where she is. Her hands create a blue fire as she makes a huge crack in the roof which causes the sky to turn red again. Vines come from underneath them and pull them into a huge hole of whiteness. They wake up in a strange world. Gongzi is confused and frightened, abruptly being grabbed by a huge vine from the ground. The female monster gives him a cruel choice between Xiaoqing and Gongzi, so he threatens to crush the earring with his foot if they don't let him go. He asks why he should believe that they'll let either of them go, and she comes closer to him, telling him not to act rashly with the earring and then cutting his leg off, confirming that she had no intentions of letting them go. Gongzi is bound by vines which hold him in place. He is ripped into pieces, and she makes more vines come from the ground, their legs to a gigantic spider-like creature which comes running towards him. A scar on his face unleashes a beam of light which allows him to escape the second timeline. She is fascinated by what just happened, and figures that she has a way of making Xiaoqing talk. He wakes up on the roof and is relieved that his leg is the same as normal, and is happy to see that Gongzi made it, but his friend tells him that he is ready to bid farewell as he stands on the edge of the roof. He says that he is going to the 21st century, which confuses him since he thinks they're already living in that time. Gongzi floats off into the sky where his neck is broken by an invisible force, and then he plummets to his death. There is an abundance of sirens as police have arrived on the scene of Gongzi's death. A news reporter reports it, and Shai hides behind a building where he watches things unravel. He is startled by the vision of the monster, and then a police officer comes up to him and says that he is acting suspiciously. In a shop, the news reports the death as Zong watches on, realizing that the death happened in the same block he was being chased in. The kid changes the channel where a guy in a red robot suit appears on screen. This makes him reminisce about his earlier life when he would watch something similar. The men in suits enter the store and approach him, so he punches one of them and a fight ensues. He displays far superior fighting skills to them. Shai sits in an interrogation room where the police officer tells him he's not allowed to go. He uses the excuse of drinking too much, but then the officer, who is called Wang, brings up Xiaoqing. Shai demands to know where she is, but Officer Wang tells him that they can't find somebody who doesn't exist. He accidentally brings up the monster he encountered, and the policeman says that he was definitely related to the death in some way. As he goes to walk out, Shai uses it as an opportunity to escape. Zhang tells the kid to leave, and the men in suits suddenly turn into their monster forms. They attack, but even as monsters, they're no match for him as he flawlessly beats them. The kid thinks that it's a movie and asks to act in it. He grabs a knife and dodges all of their attacks through the shelves. They manage to grab hold of him, but he resourcefully uses cutlery to keep them away from him. The kid heads towards him, still under the impression that it is all an act, and they launch at him, sending him flying backwards. So Zhang uses a skateboard to push them out of the store window. They're spotted by some people, so they cowardly run off to avoid being seen from anyone else, leaving behind a tracker which he picks up. They're sent to a place where they have huge amounts of water shoved into their mouths, causing their limbs to heal and grow back. One of them is in so much pain that he asks to be burned to death, but instead they use the water technique to tear him into pieces. Shai continues to run from the police and enters an alleyway where he comes to a stop. It appears to just be a dead-end wall, but when the officer tells him to put his hands in the air and turn around, he reveals that the female monster is also there. Zhang continues to run through alleyways and overhears a gunshot from around the corner. The shot came from the policeman who unsuccessfully tried to kill the monster. She evades all of his shots and comes at him, dodging Shai's attacks, as well as Zhang, who comes to save the officer. She teleports and recognizes him as the person they were pursuing. She turns the sky red again. Some other police officers on patrol talk about how Officer Wang hasn't caught the guy yet, and then the radio reports that gunshots have been heard, so they head towards the location. They talk about how Shai is a suspect because he was spotted on the roof with Gangzi. The detectives arrive on the scene where they find Officer Wang's hat. In the strange world, the three guys are being held captive. She talks specifically to Shai, saying that he should say thank you since she killed his friend instead of Shaching. She then explains that all of them have had some seeds planted inside of them, and the seeds will soon turn into flowers that will burst their stomachs open. She pulls out an antidote and says that whoever kills Shai first will get it, releasing them from their restraints and giving them 10 minutes to get things done. The officer says that Shai is working with the woman, but Zhang points out that she wouldn't want him dead if they were working together. He goes to shoot anyway, but he saves Shai. Detective Bai and Detective Ling arrive at the station, saying that they should track down Officer Wang's mobile phone. Detective Bai heads into a room where an old man is sitting accompanied by some men in suits. He explains that he is a part of a secret division called Bureau 19, and says that they're there to take over the recent suicide case. Detective Ling rushes in and says that the mobile is too far away to be able to track, and then the old man tells them that they shouldn't overstep their authority any longer, otherwise many more people will die. He says that he has never heard of Bureau 19, and the old man says that that is normal before a helicopter turns up. Back in the strange wasteland, Zhang runs behind a place whilst holding Shai tightly. Officer Wang tells him to give it up, edging closer with his gun, but he is stopped in his tracks as a scream comes from behind the wall. Zhang walks out and throws Shai's lifeless body on the floor, saying that he was too late. The female monster is delighted by this, as the ability he used last time didn't happen again. But that's where this video ends. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.